Well, we have a quick turnaround as soon as we play Villanova, so the rest has been good. It's a great thing for our players to be able to spend time with their families over Christmas. Not every team has that luxury. I know there are coaches around the country that don't give their players off, but I've always felt differently. We've always done Christmas at home. So, having said that, we've also come back with a little bit longer time to practice. We've come back from Christmas break in the past and had 3 days before we played a game, and at times it's been a non-conference game. So it's been good. We've been able to focus on our team, try to get better at the things that we need to get better at without maybe putting sole focus on Villanova like we have been these last couple days.
When you look at Villanova, they look a lot like you, having the four guards able to shoot lights out. I mean, do you see that, or do you see them as a completely different team?
I think they play a lot differently than we do. The amount of threes they take, raises your eyebrows. I know that they've been maligned for taking an excess amount of threes, but they spread the floor, they share it. They've always shot a high percentage against us, and we have to make sure that those are challenged threes. Those are threes that aren't necessarily rhythm threes. They're going to make some challenge shots because they take some of those, and then we have to secure long ball rebounds. But there are some similarities, but again, they don't get to the foul line much, or they haven't in previous games. That's been a staple of our team. So, I think there are quite a few discrepancies between the way they play and the way we play.
Do you think it's their style, or is it their players that have given you guys problems?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I don't know if a style gives you a tough way to go. If I put 4 Joe Dannemans out on the perimeter and you played the same way Villanova did, I'd like our chances.
This is obviously a big challenge. It's going to be a great atmosphere, a couple top 20 teams. What are you telling your guys about what to expect?
Well, I think that our team knows what to expect. I mean, this isn't our first time going to Villanova. Certainly because of both teams' non-conference slate, where we're nationally ranked, both us and Villanova, a lot of eyes will be on the game. But we know it's going to be a tough environment. We know that they're going to play with tremendous energy. They always do. Whether they play Xavier or whether they play Penn like they did last night, they pride themselves on playing extremely hard. And that's what I've noticed on film that hasn't changed from last year to this year's. Defensively, they just get after you. They pressure the ball. They flock to penetration. They take charges. They gang rebound. They don't give you anything easy. They speed teams up. And then on offense, they play with a lot of freedom and they play together. So, they're who you need to beat if you want to compete for the Big East championship, period. Well, we're going to play really good teams in the Big East. You'd like to think that it prepares you. The difference between non-conference and in conference play is there are no secrets in conference play. You may have a 2-day, 3-day turnaround against a non-conference team, and they're not going to know all your pet plays. They're not going to know maybe tendencies of personnel as well. We have guys that have gone against Josh Hart now going into their 3rd year, and we know how Villanova plays. They know how we play. So, it's tough. And then they have quick turnarounds. We'd like to think that the non-conference will help us because we played good teams. We didn't roll the ball out and buy games and win games by 45 points. I mean, we played some quality opponents, but it's a different animal when you get to conference play just because of the familiarity.
Sean and the conference that you've seen him play, basically on the offensive side attacking.
Yeah, Sean's played great. Sean has gotten better as the year's gone on. I think he's really gained confidence in the low post, being able to score. He's become a much more solid defender. He blocks out. He pursues the ball. He plays with a lot of effort, and it's really good to see. We needed more from him. I expected more from him when we first started this season because he put in a lot of work. We knew he was a good player a year ago. He was just hiding behind some guys, but it's been great to see him step up recently.
You said a couple weeks ago that
It's a lot of questions you're asking for a guy that's not on time.
A lot of people here. You said after the Auburn game, you said don't believe in the hype. You didn't want the players to believe, start believing what happened in the past. How have they done a good job of staying focused and you've been practicing and everything, not really know what's going on?
Well, I think from the very beginning, our team's been a team that comes to practice with a purpose. They have great energy every day, and it's a fun team to coach. Having said that, you get perspective shoved in your face when you get served humble pie in the first half at Wake Forest. If you play in any way, shape, or form entitled, or we don't have to play as hard, or hey, we're a really good team, you can get beat on any given night. I don't care who you play. And fortunately, we haven't had to learn that lesson the hard way. We've learned lessons, but they haven't been through a loss. We learned that after we beat Michigan and came back and played Northern Kentucky. I think we learned that when we headed to Wake Forest. A lot of the other games that we played, quite honestly, there was a little bit of incentive for our team, whether it was an Auburn game, obviously Cincinnati, everybody gets excited. I don't know what incentive there was necessarily, other than being a good team and being at your best and playing up to expectation for the Wake Forest game. And because of that, we were down 15 at half and 18 at one point, but I liked our response. However, if we come out that way against Villanova, it won't be 15 points, and we won't be able to overcome that type of deficit.
Their roster has changed a lot in the last year, but one common denominator is Josh Hart, who you mentioned. He has a versatility and a talent out there that really helps them. Can you talk about what challenges he brings?
He presents a lot. He brings a different type of energy than almost every opponent our guys face. He's relentless. He pursues rebounds. He gets every loose ball. He's developed into a really good scorer. I never would have guessed that. When he came on his visit here, he couldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot a lick, he'd probably tell you. But it's just been amazing to watch his development, and what was a certain negative has become a complete positive for him as a player, and that is his ability to shoot and make threes. I've always known he's a tough kid. He plays physical. He can drive the ball, but he's as impressive of a wing as we'll play all year.